I have actually studied in 10 schools.
10 schools?
Yeah.
That much?
Whoa.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So then we moved, and then
So you moved homes too?
Yeah, I moved home. So like.
Hey everyone, it's Abby, and you're listening to Boba, Bread, and Chat, where we build meaningful relationships and connections with God through our conversations while sipping on boba and snacking on our favorite snacks. So grab your favorite drink or snack as we dive into today's conversation.
Hey guys!
Hi.
Welcome to Boba, Bread, and Chat. Could you please introduce yourself briefly?
Hi, I'm Max, and I've been here in Westwood Alliance Church for 3 years.
3 years.
How about you?
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Grace, and I've been in Westwood Alliance for about 6 years.
6 years, nice.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been at Canada?
I've been in Canada since January of 2016. Yeah. What about you?
I've been in Canada since grade 9, so it's like 2021.
2021, so that's like after the pandemic started, right?
Yeah. And yeah, it's kind of hard for me for like in that time to come here. And yeah, it has been a pretty good experience, like
coming here.
In Canada.
How is it like adapting? Like, was it easy to find a church here?
Honestly, no, because like the church system here is like not the same like as Hong Kong. Yeah, I came from Hong Kong, and yeah, like for Hong Kong, it's so easy to find one church. Like there might be one like right like downstairs like of your like apartment or something, but in here you actually have to get out like of your like
right, and then you have to like drive out. It's not just
zone
like so
and
close
drive,
to your home.
and to find one that fits your language and stuff like
True,
that.
because I
and it's
noticed
hard
like
to-
at least at our church, there's so many people from Hong Kong
Yeah.
that like moved here and are coming to our church after the pandemic, or even during the pandemic.
Yeah.
There was like such a huge influx. So yeah, I was curious like as to how you found us. But before we get started, we have some bubble tea and some pineapple buns here, hence our name, Boba, Bread, and Chat. So we're gonna pop these before we get started. So grab your drink. I got the mango jelly.
You get this one then.
Yeah, I think that one's mine. Thank you.
Oh, it's
And then-
still cold. Nice.
On the count of 3, we're gonna pop them together, okay?
Alright.
Okay.
Should we like do ASMR?
ASMR. Wait, hold on. I need to double check with the crew. Can I pop this like right next to the mic?
Try not to get
Try not to. Okay, ready?
Under count.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yay! Okay,
Yay.
and we're gonna start. So yeah, feel free to drink and eat the pineapple buns
Wait,
as we
before
talk.
I start, can I offer my drink to the poor camera guy over there?
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah. I actually want a
let's see.
lemonade. Here you go, camera guy.
All right.
Yeah, I know your life is pretty hard. It's fine. Here you go. Take it.
Shout out to our crew
Yeah, that guy's
who
very
are
cool.
recording all of this. Thank you for your hard work.
Can I at least have a lemonade then? Like, please. Thank you.
Wow, Max prefers
Yeah.
lemon tea over bubble
Well,
tea.
it's from Hong Kong. The traditional drinks.
Ah,
It's always the
traditional
best. It fits our pineapple bun. Oh, it trips. Okay.
Oh, no.
It fits our pineapple bun too.
Yeah. That's so loud. Actually, should we break bread?
Yeah.
Yeah. We can cut that open.
Should we cut it?
Okay, I'm just doing one iconic cut open. Like, I'm cutting this. Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of messy. So like, feel free to use the plates.
Okay, let's do this.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like you're sawing wood or something.
What's that? How bad is this going to be?
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
That's actually pretty nice.
Alright.
Okay, I'm taking a bite.
Looks
Is
like a
this how
murder
people
scene.
eat pineapple buns in
Wait,
Hong
let's
Kong?
go.
Yeah, they do actually. Like, you can easily get one for like 5 HKD, and it's very nice.
Is that like cheap, like compared to like Canadian dollar?
Yeah, it's really cheap. So
I've
it's
never
like,
been there, so.
So it's like $1 Canadian. You
One
can get
$1.
big.
That's so
pineapple
cheap.
punch. Yeah.
And like, do you get them from like the streets and stuff, or do you have to go to the mall or like the shop?
Well, you can get it on the streets. You can get it from malls.
That's so convenient.
You can get it everywhere.
Nice. It's kind of like in Malaysia, because my family's from Malaysia, and like we always go to the street market for like food and stuff. And it's like really good too. I miss going to Malaysia. But yeah. So today's topic is on identity, and we're just going to talk about like how we grew up with the idea of our own identity and stuff like that. But before we do that, before we jump into those kind of questions, we'll do some warm-up questions. The first question is going to be about Canada. And since you guys have been in Canada for like 3 to 6 years, what is the smallest province in Canada?
I guess maybe it's Prince Edward Island.
Should definitely check the answer before that.
Yeah.
You're so smart.
Thank you.
You got the answer right.
Thank you.
All right, next question. What is the capital of Canada?
It's Ottawa.
Ottawa. Wow, you're so smart too.
Thank you.
Oh, good job. Okay, now let's see how well you know Westwood Alliance Church. How many congregations are there at our church?
3.
3.
Oh, you guys are so
Cantonese,
smart.
Mandarin, and English.
International.
Oh yeah, multicultural.
Multicultural.
Intercultural.
Not sure.
Yeah, intercultural.
Internet.
Mandarin.
International. Intercultural. Okay.
Intercultural, Mandarin, and Cantonese congregation. Yes, correct. Okay. And then what is the name of our lead pastor for the Cantonese congregation?
Pastor Paul.
Pastor Paul? Hold on, I need to double check that.
Wait, what?
Is it Pastor Paul?
Or is it Pastor Paul?
Or is it Pastor Wai Fong, right?
I passed the
really?
iPhone.
Yeah, it's Pastor Wai Fong.
Specifically said Cantonese congregation.
Pastor Paul is our lead pastor for the church.
I see.
So let's start our topic on identity today. Growing up, who were you known as at like church or at school? Like I know for myself, I grew up pretty quiet and I didn't really speak much in school, especially in elementary school. So people always knew me as like the quiet kid. Yeah. What about you guys?
I'm also known as the quiet kid, if you like can tell, because like I'm normally like really like quiet and stuff. Like I don't talk much,
Really?
but
Oh no, like,
okay,
when I see you, you're pretty
Yeah.
but
talkative.
very
if I
talkative.
enjoy
Around
something,
church.
like if I enjoy like our fellowship life, I'll actually start talking and like get to know more of you guys.
True. It's like you
But,
talk more when you're
yeah.
closer with people.
Normally I won't talk like that much. How about you?
Well, for me, I grew up in Hong Kong. So when I was in Hong Kong, it was kind of like a little culture where if you're a good kid, you're quiet and then you sit and listen. So I was kind of like quiet as well. But as I kind of grew up, I was when I was really young, I was pretty talkative and I asked a lot of questions. But then when I grew up, I learned from the culture that I was supposed to be quiet. But then when I moved to Canada, it's like kind of the other way around where you're supposed to take initiative and like you're supposed to be more talkative. So people know what you're thinking or like the teacher know if you're focusing or not. So I'm trying to open up a bit more now. Yeah.
Yeah, like similar to me. I don't know. I always grew up as like the quiet one, but of course, like if I'm closer to you, then I talk more. But the comment I always got from teachers was like, you need to talk more. You need to like raise up your hand more, or like they would encourage me to, not like forcingly. But what about at church? Like, did you have a different personality than you were outside of church?
Yeah, definitely. For me, like just getting into fellowship and like talking to the people in my congregation, it's a really fun thing. And I think, like I just enjoy talking with them, so actually talk more instead of being quiet. And yeah.
I think for me, it's pretty much the same. But I feel like it's more like the Cantonese side of me and the English side of me, rather than like church me and school me. Like I think in English, I talk more about jokes and stuff. But like in Canto, I talk more, but more about random things rather than jokes.
Random things.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the language difference more than school and church.
Right,
School and
because
church
like,
similar.
what was your first language?
My first language is Cantonese.
Cantonese, yeah. So then you're more comfortable with that, I guess.
I
Yeah,
guess
that's the
sometimes.
reason.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, we're
that
kind of
reason, I don't know.
same
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Like some words you
We are
use
from
English.
the same root.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Same root. Yeah, like the plants.
Yeah, and in Cantonese, like there are probably a lot of words that you can't say in English.
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
So it's like it's different.
It's a harder language than English, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Like-
slangs and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up speaking Mandarin, like at home, and then my parents know how to speak Cantonese, so I can understand. But even now, like I can't speak Cantonese. Yeah, maybe a few words like
So your first language is English?
English and Mandarin. Sort of grew up learning both of them at the same time. Yeah. What are some characteristics or habits that have made up your identity? Like, for example, when I grew up, I learned the piano, and so I was always sort of known to like be the one playing piano for church, for the Mandarin services, or wherever it is needed, or even for the children's choir. Yeah, it's like if they need a piano player, oh, go to Abby. Yeah. What about you guys? Is there
Yeah.
anything kind of like that?
Yeah, same for me. Like I also grew up as a piano kid, and my mom sent me to piano class when I was like 6. Even though I don't really like piano, like back then, but now I know that like it actually helps me a lot because I also kind of worship for the family service like on Saturdays. I like for them, and we were having a new like kind of new church in Maple Ridge, right? And
yeah.
I was planning to like do piano for him too. So yeah, I think I'm also I learned piano and changed like my personality and stuff to become like a more helpful kid. I don't know. I might not be that helpful, but
Oh, I'm sure it's helpful. Like, I'm sure it's a gift that like
yeah,
God
it's a
has
gift,
given us.
gift from God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
That's a
truly
good
like
way.
a blessing that I'm able to serve Him back in that capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. Because I wasn't the piano kid, but I was more like the choir kid, the singing kid. But I also play like the cello. So like when I was in Hong Kong, I was like in the worship team and I sing. So I think that kind of builds me up like as like when I was older, my identity, because like, oh, okay, I'm kind of like serving, I'm singing, I'm praising the Lord. But also like when I moved to Canada, it's pretty interesting that I kind of stopped singing and I shifted more to like the cello side. So at church we have
so cool, you
Yeah,
play the
so
cello.
Yeah,
so it's kind
cello.
of like the cello side. So like I'm more onto the instrumental side because my church, my school is a Christian school, so we have like a worship band, and then I usually play the cello.
Nice. I also kind of grew up as like the choir kid at
Right?
church because the children's choir at our church began with me and Curtis. I don't know if you know Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how the choir started, and we were like
Oh.
like 5 or something. So that's how it all started, and then we went up until like grade 12, kind of. Well, we slowly became like the teacher assistant, and then became less involved with the choir. But it's really cool how the choir has grown a lot to this day. What do you think makes up your identity? Your faith, your background, your experiences?
That is a good question. I think it's all together. Like, because it's just like a puzzle piece, so like I would describe myself as a puzzle. So every single part of me kind of makes up my identity. So it's like, yes, like my faith for sure, my race for sure, where I grew up for sure, what language I speak for sure, what like hobbies I like. Yeah, I think it's like a bit of everything, and then that makes like the puzzle, like the me, like complete.
Like the full picture.
Yeah, the full picture.
I see,
of
I
it.
see.
Yeah, same as Grace. I don't think there's like specific like aspect for me to like like that specifically shape me or my personality. But yeah, rather it's like puzzle piece, or yeah, everything like kind of gather up and makes who I am. And
So like
yeah,
your
forms a picture.
experiences, like for both of you,
Yeah.
it's your experiences that make up who you are.
Yeah.
I see. Like for me, I know I used to focus a lot on my achievements, like especially back in high school. I think that's when I worked really hard and like began to achieve a lot of like successes, kind of. That the world would consider like high grades or awards at school, and that I think eventually gave me a lot of like ego and like pride in that, and which I don't think is good, because you start to place your worth in these achievements, you know, right?
Yeah.
And that's not something that I believe at its core, right? But eventually, you know, thanks be to God, like after connecting him and making sure that I'm listening to him and following his ways and refocusing what my purpose is, that's where my identity is like placed in God and not in like the things of this world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes, even as Christians, we do struggle like where our identity comes from. Like, is it like the God side, or is it like the earthy, like the secular side? Like sometimes there is like a difference in them, and that we have to like make sure that we're actually focusing more on God rather than like convinced by other people around us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things in this world are focused on like how much money you make or what job you have.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like God calls us to live out our purpose for him, and you know we each have a calling, right?
Yeah.
And it's our duty as well to represent ourselves as a child of God and to represent his kingdom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a Bible verse that comes to your mind when you think about identity?
Yeah, like I don't have it memorized, but it's more like in general, where we are the image of God, we're created by God, and that is kind of shapes who we are.
Genesis?
Yeah, Genesis.
Yeah,
maybe?
in the beginning.
Yeah.
When Adam and
Yeah,
Eve
yeah,
were made?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were created in the image of God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. Let's talk about when you guys first moved here. How did you guys first feel?
Oh, I feel, of course, like it takes almost like 2 weeks for me to like get used to like the living patterns here and like what's actually going on here in Canada. But after that, I feel like it's actually a pretty nice place compared to back in Hong Kong, because I started school like after I came for like a month, and I start to realize like how cool like here's schooling systems and like the teachers, the education system. It's like so cool. Like
Is it
you have
very
no
different?
Stress. Yeah, you have no stress like studying
okay.
here. Well, I can't say no stress, but like you get definitely less stress compared to like Asian their
I know,
education
like
system
the Asian
in Asia.
education system is a lot like more strict or more difficult than Western.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the living like the pace, it's like really slow too. Like you can do basically wherever you want here, like in your free time. Rather than in Hong Kong, you just study in your free time and you go to like stupid like classes, more classes. Yeah.
So do you enjoy it here a lot
Yeah,
better?
of course I enjoy it.
Yeah.
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 As a
That's good.
student.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. I can relate so much to whatever you said, especially like how it's different. But for me, I guess when I first moved here, I wasn't really planning to move here, so I was like experience Canada for like a month, and I was about to go back and then come back in half a year. But then I just kind of loved how it was like kind of stress-free when you're studying, and it's like environment and it's slow pace. So then I just stayed here, so I didn't go back. So yeah, but
Nice.
it was a really different transition, because it's a brand new place. I don't know anybody. My school has changed. My school system has changed.
Yeah.
Everything has changed.
Yeah.
So it was first a bit refreshing that I have like a new little thing, but then afterwards, like probably like 2 weeks or a month, I started to feel like, oh, okay, I'm actually moving. Okay, I'm leaving my friends behind. I'm leaving my families behind, and that was kind of sad.
Very difficult. Like, do you have family in Hong Kong as well?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so it's hard like leaving them and like even like leaving your friends and your schoolmates and trying to make new ones here, right?
Yeah.
It's always a big leap to like get rid of like something that we used to, and jump out of our comfort zone to like get something new. And with God's plan, of course.
Did it help that you had a church?
Yeah,
to go
I
to?
think totally. Yeah. Because especially with moving, because I first was living with a homestay for a month, and then afterwards, me and my mom, we moved out to like an apartment. And we didn't have a car, we don't have a driver's license, so the church people really helped us to move and actually support us or tell us, where to go to for like, I don't know, for example, groceries or like for example, help us with IKEA furniture because we don't have a car. It's really hard for us to move alone. So we had a lot of help from church.
Church community definitely helps a lot. Have you ever questioned your identity?
That's a really, really deep
Yeah.
question. I would say no and yes at the same time. Like no, because like why would I question my identity? Like I'm just like a normal kid, right? But at the same time, I would like question why am I here, right? Like what like God actually wants me to do, rather than like staying at home and like being useless basically. And for a yes side, yes, because I feel like I always kind of question like what God want me to do, like in a religion side, point of view, and that's it.
Well, what do you think God has told you so far? Like, what do you think is His purpose for you for now? If like. You don't have to have like an
basically
now,
I think God like what He wants me to do right now is actually to like encounter with more like these kind of activities like church activities
to serve Him.
To serve Him, like use what like our talents, like as the Bible says,
right,
to like serve Him, like as and love Him. That's the way.
And I see you do that a lot too, like with serving through the piano. And, That's great.
Yeah. I think for me, kind of yes and no, but I feel like the big picture no, like big picture of identity. Yeah, I know I'm Canadian. I know I'm from Hong Kong. Like those identity are like firm. But also the small little identities is where I'm like, okay, do I question about this? Like, why am I here? Or like, do I belong here? Like, but I think when I question about my identity, I look back and see like, because God has a purpose for my life, right? So everything happened on me for a purpose. So when I look back, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what happened when I was younger. And now I kind of see the purpose of why God put me through that, or why God has this plan for me. And then now I look moving onto the future, I know, oh, okay, God has a purpose for me, and this is my identity because this is what God has planned for me.
Directed you
directed me to do. So that is where I kind of like gain the confidence in who I am, my identity, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I do question sometimes like a little bit of my small little identities. But yeah, in general, no.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing. Were there any challenges like growing up that made you like doubt God or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely, especially like relating to identity, since that's what we're talking about. I have actually studied in how many schools? 10 schools.
10 schools?
Yeah.
That much?
Whoa.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait, take us through.
Yeah, so first, in Hong Kong, kindergarten has 3 years. So it's like K1 to K3.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I changed from K1 to another school to K2 and then K3. So that's 3 schools. And
Change each year?
Yeah, each year.
What?
Because of like
Whoa.
location or like, oh, that school has a connection like elementary school kind of thing. So then we moved. And then in
So you moved homes too?
Yeah, I moved home.
Oh.
So like in Hong Kong, it's more often for people to move homes compared to Canada.
Yeah, 'cause it's like a small place.
Yeah.
And
like usually people rent it instead of like buying a big house and it's their house for like 100 years, like the whole family kind of thing. So people would move. So I moved a couple of times, and then elementary school I also did 3. So like I found the first 2 was not really my style because it was more like traditional, competitive. Yeah, not my style. So I kind of switched to a more like happy school, like more relaxed school.
Yeah.
So that's how I moved.
Should have moved to Canada. We're really
right. I
relaxed
should have
here.
moved like earlier. Right? Yeah, totally. But yeah, so I moved. I had 3 elementary schools and then 3 high schools because 2 in Hong Kong because one was like too traditional, so I moved to like another school, and then I came to Canada, so that was my 9th school, and then my 10th school was my university. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of transitions. Did you move that much in Hong Kong as well?
I basically don't move.
Like, you didn't move at
house
all?
or anything?
I didn't move schools. I just like kind of take like my first like kindergarten like level. I stick one school, like we call it primary school in Hong Kong.
Okay.
And so it's like elementary. It's like 6 years, and I kind of
so like kindergarten to like grade 5 here.
Grade
6.
Primary school. Oh, grade 6.
Grade 6.
Okay.
And
is there middle school? Sorry.
We don't have it. It's
Okay,
like
okay.
secondary school.
Yeah,
it's 7 to 12.
It's called secondary school, and it basically it's a like a mashup of like middle school and high school here. And for grade 7 and grade 8, I took like my secondary school in Hong Kong, and I moved here. Then I got like my current high school here, and basically that's it for me.
Nice.
And talking about the question, like, did you have I ever doubted my identity or like about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, of course, because like on the religion side, of course, because I kind of feel like, is that actually like God talking to me?
Like discerning like what is he really calling me to do, right?
Yeah, and what he like, is that actually his real voice, like, or is that what I want to do? But I would think that like if that's what I want to do, I would just hang out with my friends, right? Like to get my life more fulfilled and more content. But instead, I'm like here in church, like that's of course God's calling, right? Like rather than like sticking out into the world outside, like I'm in God and in a church.
Yeah, like instead of following your own your own desires, like you're looking to God and where He's placed you and following His path, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I like also to answer your question, like do I question about it? Like like maybe some challenging like experience, for example, like moving so many schools, sometimes I do question God, like, oh, why do I have to go through like all these when I have made like so many friends when I was younger? So it was really sad to make friends for like a year and then leave them and then make new friends and for the adaptation. But looking back, when I kind of ask God this question now, I kind of like feel that God is answering me that by doing these, that makes who I am, and also now I have the ability to actually talk to more new people, make new friends, and adapt to different situations easier, as I do have the previous experiences. So yeah.
And I think you become more like sociable that way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You're
out of my
stronger.
bubble.
Yeah. And like by doing or going through these challenges, like you get to go out of your comfort zone and expand your social skills.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think for me, like growing up, I don't know, I didn't really have anything that I was really good at. But then when I went into high school, I was really interested in digital media, digital arts, like photography, graphic design, videography, things like that. And so I kind of just went with that throughout high school. And here I am now, like studying video production, which is really great, and it seems to have gone really smoothly. But as I was going through grade 12, everyone around me, not everyone, but a lot of people around me were going into science. I feel like that's almost like the Asian stereotypical thing
business,
where people
science.
study like business or science.
Yeah.
And then here I am going to digital media, which is in maybe in Asian cultures like looked down upon. So I would also think like, is this really where you want me to go, God? You know, like, because everyone around me seems to go in the typical direction, which is, you know, science or business. But I'm going into this. Are you sure this is where you want me to go? But at the same time, it's like, I can't imagine me going into science or business because I'm not very interested in those things. Well, business maybe. But but thank God that he's shown me so obviously through serving at church. I was able to help with the live stream team here and help with my school community with these skills that he's given me in digital media. And so that's really pointed into the direction that God has wanted me to go into. So I feel very comforted knowing that too. So yeah, praise God.
Praise God.
Praise God. Yeah. Do you have any last words that you would like to share about identity?
Last words.
Last words. I'll give you some time to think about it.
I guess for people who actually struggle with identity, pray to God about it. And I'm sure God has his plans for you and why is he putting you through this, or why did he give you this identity? And also don't focus too much on what others are like, who you are surrounded by, because they might be different. They might have a different identity than you do. You don't have to really like kind of fit into the stereotype. So then you can like belong there because you have your own identity. So don't really question about yourself, and keep in mind that God has a reason and has a purpose for you.
Yeah. Like, don't be influenced by the things of this world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
By even if it's the people around you, unless you know that it's from God. Right?
Yeah.
God can also use people around you to show you the direction that he wants you to go into.
But to like discern which one is actually the voice from God, and like make sure that you have a strong foundation, that you know what you're doing.
And I think that also helps that you connect with God daily. You read the Word, and because how can you hear God if your Bible is closed? Right? Yeah. Max, do you have anything else to share?
So same as Grace, I think for the people who actually struggles in like their identity, don't follow the patterns of this world, because like our people, they might think, oh, I have to like fit into other people's lives, or like just know them more, right? Like they're popular.
It's so easy to fall into like the temptations of this world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's a temptation, of course. But why don't we think it this way? We're all God's like children, and we should actually fit in like God's life rather than other people's lives. And like as Jeremiah 29:11, now I get it first. Says,
from the Bible.
Yeah, for plans I have for you, it's good, and something like that. Okay, I forgot it.
Yeah,
but
for I know the plans I have for you.
It's God's plans. It's always good, and God always give you a future, and just don't afraid to reach out to like church communities like us, and we can all share and teach you some, like, probably not teach you, but share some like what we learned and what we have been through. And to find out who you really are, and
like God's purpose.
And God's purpose for you, and what God actually wants you to do, something like that. I think through prayers and reading Bible, of course, it's really important to and know who your identity to, like to recognize your identity.
That definitely helps. Well, thank you too for sharing. I hope our listeners were very encouraged by your words. I certainly had a lot of fun today. I don't know about you guys. Was it good? Was it good? That was our first podcast. So good job, guys. Thank you for coming. Woo!
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Maybe we'll see you guys again in the future podcasts. But yeah, thanks for tuning into our conversation today. Thank you guys again for joining us. I hope you got something out of this discussion as well. Guys, make sure to follow us on Instagram at lighthousemedia.wac and our church at westwood.alliance.church for new episodes at the end of each month. And so until next time, stay chill and God bless.